Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio, the Friday night version. Yes, this is a new show, something we're trying out for the entire season, and the reason for this is Tuesday nights we get so caught up in breaking down the game and recapping and ripping McCagnon and ripping Bowles and trying to figure out what the hell this team is doing that we have no time to actually preview the next game. So in order to get more calls and cover more content, we added a second show on Friday nights just to talk just about the game coming up. So we're not going to talk about how bad Mike McCagnon is, because we know that, and we know how bad the zombie is. But we're not going to talk about them. We're going to focus on the game. So we're excited to do this. It should be fun. Predictions, offense, defense, special teams, everything. You name it, we're going to talk about it. So let me bring the man from the West Coast where the Jets are heading, Long Beach Joe.
What's going on, Ty? Man, this is I was so excited about this show, man. Can't wait to talk to people here. Can't wait to talk about this game coming up, man. It's going to could possibly definitely be a rough one to see. But listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio, okay? Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with people about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you guys think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. So without further ado, Ty, let's go ahead and get into the show, man. I am fired up.
Yeah, and as always, we're on YouTube. We're going to put all kinds of videos, especially with the home games coming up. Videos, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn.com. We're all over the place. Instagram, Twitter. We really appreciate all the follows, definitely the listens. I mean, there's a lot of podcasts out there, so if you take your time to listen to us two clowns talk about this lousy team, we definitely appreciate it. And, Joe, you kind of preface our conversation or our topic of the night, and that's the Oakland Raiders. And Jets-Raiders, man, a tale of two different teams. I mean, we're going to try to break it down. I guess the first thing we start out with is just the injuries, man. And the Jets all of a sudden are kind of light at linebacker and light at tight end. And starting with the tight end position, Joe, it's Leggett's out, which this is becoming a lost season for him all of a sudden with these injuries. He's missing preseason time. He's missing 2 games now. Then Tomlinson's out. The New York Jets are down to 2 tight ends, Will Tye and Neil Sterling, who they just signed. So for a team that wants to, A, establish a safety valve as a tight end, and B, establish a running game, having 2 healthy tight ends, neither of which are really known for blockers, and no fullback on the roster, the position they said they were going to have on the roster, how exactly are we going to run the ball against this team with these injuries? These injuries are big, man.
Yeah, especially with our offensive line being absolutely awful. This is a big question here. You got to wonder, is this roster even built to go into Oakland and get itself a win? Because like you said, how can you play power football? How can you establish the run if you don't have a fullback in there, being that lead blocker to go out and smash these linebackers to open up for that running back to get into the secondary? I don't know. You look at Will Tye, he's a guy that's coming in. He's been productive so far, especially in the passing game. But, man, let me tell you something. This Raiders front seven is serious business. So I think we're going to have to ask him this game to either chip block or get into the backfield and play that fullback role. And I don't know if he's ready to do those things. Man, it's going to be so tough keeping pressure off McCown in this game because of the lack of, presence to be able to block there. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, so you're light at tight end, like I said. You could put Will Tye in the backfield to be the lead blocker, or do the Jets try to go like a 2-back set where, Powell can block Forte or for Forte or McGuire? I mean, this is not ideal at all, man. And no fullback. You had 2 fullbacks in camp. You had Hauser, you had Ferkser, you had them both in there. So you're basically going. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So before we cover the offense, just want to cover the injuries. The other 2 big injuries are Lorenzo Malton's out for the year. They put him on IR. They weren't sure if he can come back short term. Unfortunately, he can't. And I know fans are quick to rip Malton and do whatever else. It's like, oh, who cares? Listen, I'm a fan of Lorenzo Malton. I've always liked him. He's been good to us. He's been very good to us, actually. And I like his spirit, his fighting nature, everything else. I'm bummed out, man, because this is a lost year for him, and now he's a complete unknown going into next year, man.
Absolutely is. And it hurts the team. This is a guy that we were waiting to come back and see what he is. Is his pass rushing ability really there? Is this a guy that we can count on that could be our future pass rusher for years to come? Now, again, we're still in the dark with that because of this injury. I'm bummed out about it. I wish him a speedy, recovery, but just looking at that effect on this linebacker core, it's like, okay, well, where are we getting our pass rush from? We got Ely on the defensive line. But, you know, we're still trying to figure out, is he the guy? You know, we've only seen one game out of him. Can we get a consistent pass rush out of him? Is he the guy that's going to get to the quarterback? We don't know. So far, the linebacking core, especially the inside linebacking core, has looked shaky at best. Guys are getting lost in coverage. There's not really much of a pass rush coming from them either. So this injury really hurt us a lot more than we knew.
Yeah, and then you look at Bruce Carter's out, and it's like, all right, like you mentioned, the inside linebackers, if you listen to our show on Tuesday, we tore them to shreds, and rightfully so. I mean, they were a nightmare. And now you take up one of the backups, Bruce Carter, he's out. So you have Julian Stanford, who did okay. Supposedly they're bringing up Freddie Bishop, which, you know, he's more of an outside guy. And you look at this, you're like, all right, you know, our linebacking core, the revamped, quote-unquote, revamped linebacking core, there's some issues, man. There are issues and huge issues. And now it's like, okay, how do you overcome these injuries? You know, Malden didn't play last week, obviously. Dylan Donahue saw some snaps. Bringing up Freddie Bishop. But, dude, this is – I mean, there's some problems here, man. There are definitely some problems. The other news is that Claude Pallone was waived. So, initially, Joe, when they waived him, I'm like, all right, cool. The defensive line struggled. Todd Bowles making a statement. He played okay. I'm like, what they're going to do, just in terms of roster management, they're going to bring up Deion Simon, who is being good against the run. And this is where I get into trouble because I think with common sense, and that's not what the Jets are all about. And this won't go into the Mike McCagnon bashing session, but the question is, Joe, it's roster management. And you got to look at what are our holes, what are our needs, and how do you address them. So we talked about we have no fullbacks. We only have 2 tight ends, right? You want to address defensive line issues. You don't bring up Deion Simon. You bring up Freddie Bishop, which is another hole. So then why are we keeping 7 receivers? Is Sharon Peak this valuable? Is Khalif Raymond this valuable? For me, Deion Simon would address a need that we have right now, wouldn't it?
He absolutely would. But, I mean, we can even go even further with this question is exactly are we doing with Jeremy Curley? This is a guy that we brought in. They're still talking about him possibly being active this week. If you look at our punt returner, that guy back there, Raymond, is back there muffing punts. It could easily those muff punts that he dropped that were, I mean, totally standing right there in front of the team that we were playing could have easily have been turnovers. Not only that, Curley can not just punt return, but he can also be a viable receiver coming out of that slot and provide more offensive weapons against a team that we're going up against that has one heck of a defense, man. It makes you wonder exactly what is going on here and what is the deal with this roster management. But, again, this is something that we've seen the entire time that Todd Bowles and Mike Gagnon has been here. There's been iffy roster, movement. There's been questionable decisions with the roster as well, questionable decisions with usage, rotations, all types of stuff. So this is just more of the same. But the fact that Deion Simon is not being – so far has not been brought up just brings absolute questions to your mind about what is going on here. This is a guy that you drafted to plug the holes, to plug the run. We're awful against the run right now. We saw us get torched last week against the Bills, just get absolutely used and abused. Guess what? The Raiders are coming into town, and they're ready to get the party started. This is another team that can run too. I mean, run your doors off. So I suggest you find someone that come in here to stuff those holes as well. So if Deion doesn't get called up, it's just another question on your mind about what's going on around here.
Yeah, and that's something that, Sunday afternoon when the Jets announce they're active or they're inactives, check it out. And don't read what the papers tell you to believe. Think about it with your own mind. Think about it, okay, listen, are the Jets going to have 7 receivers active, and who are they? Is Sharon Peak that valuable if Jeremy Curley's inactive? This Khalif Raymond, yes, he had one very nice return. Is that one nice return worth the fumbling issues that he potentially had, or was that rust? I mean, we saw Jalen Marshall fumble like crazy last year. They kept throwing him back out there. And in this kind of game, ball security is going to be huge. So keep that in mind when you watch this game. Who's going to be active? Who's going to be inactive? And right now, I mean, no fullbacks, only 2 tight ends. I have absolutely no idea how they're going to run the ball. And we'll guess, Joe, we'll start with that. No, we're not going to start with that. We'll start with this. You're out there in the West Coast. You're out there West Coast. You're the West Coast guy, man. You're a Long Beach Joe. Tell me why in the hell the New York Jets notoriously suck on the West Coast. Can you tell me why they sleepwalk every time they go out there? Not even under Todd Bowles, under Rex, under everybody. It's like they is it the air? What is it? The bars, the restaurants? What is it?
I don't know, man. Maybe they just get
every time.
Maybe they just get. maybe they just get distracted with the beauty of California. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe when they come out here, they just see the blue sky, they smell the fresh air, and things just go awry from then on. You know, everything else is on their mind that's going on out here. Just the great weather, the great things to look at, the sightseeing. It just catches them off guard, and then all of a sudden their minds are just taken off of football, and they don't perform on the field. I think that's just kind of what it is. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's that we're not being coached as well, or we're not being prepared as well to be on, you know, to come West Coast and perform, you know, out here like we should be. But it just kind of is what it is. Like you said, we were talking about this before the show as well. We're just notoriously horrible when we swing out here and play these West Coast teams. And this is a team, I'm telling you, that if you come out here and try to sleepwalk through this Oakland Raider team, man, they're going to put you in a casket. I'm telling you, they are going to absolutely roll you over. This is a team that is talented. This is not your father's Raiders from a couple years ago when they sucked and were making horrible decisions, you know, with their roster, and they were just blowing through draft picks, and they were trading away draft picks, and they were overpaying people. Let me tell you something. This is a Raiders team that is stocked and ready to go. They've got a young quarterback. They've got, you know, young wide receivers that they put together. They got an offense. They got a solid line. They've got a running back that they've brought in, and he's got 2 solid running backs behind him. They got a defense that's ready to go. They will get after you. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Todd Bowles is doing to prepare these guys, but he better have them in the right frame of mind, because if they come out here on some nonsense, they're going to get stomped.
No, and this is actually, to be honest with you, this is one of my biggest keys to the game. The biggest key to the game is, and this has been a problem for Todd Bowles, is the slow starting defense. They did it against Buffalo. Yep. They were sleepwalking. The offense, I give a pass because the offense didn't play together until the 4th preseason game. So I gave McCown a bit of a pass for the first couple series, but the defense had no excuse. So now it's like you're going into that black hole with that fan base for their home opener, and they love their team, a very good team. Joe, if you come out and you lack energy, you lack passion, you lack pride, the game is over at halftime. So the challenge is for Todd Bowles to get his head out of his ass and get his message across to his team, because if not, this will be embarrassing of epic proportions. Because this team, they'll have no mercy, nor should they. So the first key to the game, obviously, is to come out and have a plan, which they didn't have last week, on both sides of the football, play with passion, pride, and endure that first big punch. Because the Raiders are going to come after you and go for those big splash plays. So what we'll do is we'll start out with the Raiders' offense. And, I mean, dude, this is hard to look at because there's no weakness, and their strengths are our weaknesses. It's not even close. No. And you mentioned just their offensive line. Just start there. Their offensive line against our defensive line is a problem.
Yeah. We'll be dominated up front. Absolutely. Penn, Osemele, Hudson, Jackson, and Newhouse, those guys are serious business. You know, I'm on the West Coast, so I got to deal with these Raiders fans. Most of them are bandwagon hoppers. Keep that in mind. But I got to deal with these Raider fans left and right. They can't name 2 offensive linemen, but I'm stuck having to, you know, watch these guys on and off TV. They perform up front. They get their hands on you, especially Penn. If he gets his hands on you, he's driving you yards away from the football, and there'll be a hole there. Osemele's a great guard. He's a great left guard for them. That side, man, opens up so many holes. And when you got Marshawn Lynch running behind that, man, he's still running like he's got it, man. He's still out there running beast mode, still running power football. But I don't even think he's a great back. We get that. But I don't even think he's the one that is really going to kill us, because with the way that our linebacker players look so far, especially our inside linebackers with Lee and Davis, the guys that are really going to scorch us is Richard and especially Washington, because those backs are the dynamic backs. Those backs are the guys that can come out the backfield and catch the football, especially Washington. I watch this dude run routes. He comes out the backfield on swing routes all the time, catches the ball in the flats, he'll juke a backer, and then it's nightmare matchup everywhere else. Because he's a small back, but he's shifty, and he also got a little power to him as well. So he can run you over and keep it moving. Well, with the way our secondary has looked, missing tackles, guys jumping around everywhere, losing containment, that's right up his alley. You lose containment on Richard, especially, or Washington, those guys are gone. They are gone, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So if we have any shot at this game whatsoever, right, you're going to have to see Muhammad Wilkerson step up. He's got to come off that milk carton and actually show up to play. Because if he doesn't, we're done. They're going to double Leo, and our nose tackle, which has not looked so far, whether it be McClendon or whoever else they decide to put on there, those guys are going to get bullied off the football because Hudson is a serious business center. So we have to get after it. We have to close up the lanes, and we have to play tough up front if we have any chance at stopping the run here.
No, I agree, man. And like I said, like their offensive line is a strength. Our defensive line supposedly is a strength, but I'm not showing it. And it's a concern. It's a concern, dude. And it's a concern. And also you also have to get Jordan Jenkins to set the edge. You need your outside linebacker to set the edge and get out there, string out these plays. But to be honest with you, my biggest concern is that Marshawn Lynch is going to wear out our defense and wear them out quickly. Because our linebackers, this is where Darren Lee's size is kind of used against him a little bit. You see him, he shoots the gap, he does things. Sometimes he bounces off guys, takes bad angles. If you try to arm tackle Marshawn Lynch, he's going to embarrass you. So the things they did last week with LaShawn McCoy is very shifty. Marshawn Lynch will run you over. If you want to half-ass your tackle, you're going to be a highlight reel. You'll be a highlight reel all over SportsCenter. You'll be on these GIFs all over Twitter, and you'll be embarrassed. So that's the concern with the running game. And then you look at the passing game, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what are we going to do? Because we have issues everywhere. We couldn't handle an offense that featured Charles Clay last week, and now you got Cooper, Crabtree. Just start with Cooper and Crabtree. To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, Mo Claiborne does a good job. You know, I'm guessing he'd probably be with Cooper, I would guess. I'm not really sure. But the thing about Cooper, he drops a lot of passes, but he also dusts a lot of people too. So it's like, all right, if you can somewhat try to contain Cooper, how are you going to do it, Crabtree? You know, like it just starts there, Joe. How do we contain the wide receivers in this passing game if we can't generate pressure?
And that's the thing is I don't think we will. And you hinted at the fact that I was going to bring up is if we do not generate pressure, if we do not get to Carr, it's going to be a long day out there, man. Let me tell you something. It's going to be a long day. You look at the game that we just played against the Bills. I don't think the Bills necessarily have any, real game-breaking wide receivers. Jordan Matthews, I don't really call him a game-breaking receiver. I would say Clay is probably, one of their best pass catchers. Zay Jones, he's a young wide receiver. But when you look at Cooper, this guy is serious, man. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. So when you look at the situation with this offense, if you're not getting pressure on Carr and Cooper's allowed to run around out there and you say, okay, well, look, we're going to stop Cooper, we're going to double team him, Crabtree will go off. This is a guy that can move the chains, veteran wide receiver, still moving around, still running routes very solidly, still has great hands, can make catches. He was dusting us the last time we went out to the West Coast and got scorched by them. He was the guy that was going off over there as well. There's other guys behind him that are really solid, too, that can play well. You got Roberts behind him, too. Roberts is a guy that can move and catch the football, especially coming out that slot. Cordell Patterson, who isn't a great – he isn't like their greatest wide receiver, but this is a guy that, just like a lot of other guys in the NFL that are great athletes, and when you can get the ball in his hand in space, he's a nightmare matchup for anybody. I know we're going to talk a little bit about him. Let me tell you something. He's going to have an effect on this game in special teams. Look, we're going to be tested at every single phase of football, period, in this game, okay, period. I know we're talking about the offense right now, but we're going to be tested offensively, we're going to be tested defensively, and we're damn sure going to be tested on special teams. And I don't know if we'll pass that test. But getting back to the offense, if we do not get pressure on Carr, if we do not get in his face, if we don't find somebody on his team that can consistently generate pass rush, whether it be from a linebacker perspective or from, if Ely got to step up or somebody on our defensive line steps up this week and decides to provide some pressure there, we're going to be done. We're going to be dusted. Because sending blitzes at the Raiders, that don't work, baby, because Carr will sniff that out, scheme it up, change the fronts at the line, and absolutely scorch you for that. So you need to find another way to get to him. And I don't know if we have that.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, you mentioned a lot of things there. And the running backs, like you said, they're a threat running the ball, Marshawn Lynch and company, and, DeAndre Washington. They're a threat catching the ball in the backfield, which has been a bugaboo for the Jets. For whatever reason, we can't defend that still, no matter who we have at linebacker. And then you add in Jared Cook, a tight end that can catch the ball, a legitimate tight end that has receiving ability, like Charles Clay. So you just put all the pieces together here. You have two dynamic receivers, at least three. You have the running backs that can run the ball. You have a tight end that can catch the ball. And Cordell Patterson's a guy that what I would do if I was the Raiders, you could do end arounds at him, man. Just get him in motion, get the ball in his hands, and take advantage of our linebackers that aren't running, the speed of our defense, and just challenge everybody. So for me, there's mismatches everywhere. I mean, because you figure our secondary last week, Buster Screen was a joke, but our outside corners weren't really tested like they're going to get tested this week. Like Mo Claiborne's going to earn his paycheck this week. He's going to earn every ounce of his money for his 1-year contract, all of it. Marcus Williams earned his check. So there's nowhere to hide, dude. The spotlight is on you, and if you choke, we're all going to see it. This is it. There's nowhere to hide. And Jared Cooks can do the same thing to linebackers, dude. Demario Davis, Darren Lee, you want to do your little fancy dances and make a lousy tackle, you're going to get burned. So just get in your playbook, get your act together, and, dude, I really honestly don't know how we're going to slow down this defense if Todd Bowles comes up with another conservative game plan, or if we can't generate consistent pressure without a blitz. Seriously, you can't get consistent pressure. I really don't. They're going to pick us apart. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah. We didn't even bring up the fullback Wale, who's a guy that is also
they have a fullback? What a novel idea. They have a fullback?
I know, right?
Oh, what?
I know, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like they're an NFL football team. It's like they have a fullback. What? Like, yeah.
They must have a plan.
Wale is a guy. Yeah, I know, right? Isn't it nuts? It's like a plan. Who would ever think to have a plan when building a football team? But it's like Wale. He's a guy that is, a fullback that can come out the backfield and catch the football as well, but also is a banger in the run game. This is the guy they put in front of Marshawn Lynch. He's the guy that hits you before Lynch hits you. So you get 2 for 1. You get 2 car wrecks on the same play. So, anytime you see Marshawn get the ball, we have to run to the football. And like you said, the arm tackles, you're going to get embarrassed. If you do not find a way to bring beast mode down, he's going to put you on a highlight reel. If you don't find a way to run to the football and not have these backs scorch you when we're running the football, we don't have a chance with this game at all. They have to corral. They have to run to the ball. And like we spoke about earlier, you can't send blitzes all day. You have to generate pass rush from something else. You have to.
Yeah, and like I said, Todd Bowles, issued his challenge to the defensive line. I'm like, you should be challenging your whole goddamn team. But, dude, this is about pride. This is about pride because you're going on the West Coast. They're home opener, one of the best teams in the AFC. If you don't bring your A game and your best game, like you said, this is highlight reel material. You will be on SportsCenter. You'll be the laughing stock of the NFL. You'll be jokes all across social media from getting your asses kicked in embarrassing fashion in Oakland. So, pride. Mo, and listen, I ripped Mo Wilkerson all night Tuesday night. So did you. Dude, after a week of bashing, after fans questioning your character, after the media bashing you, if he doesn't come out with everything he has, Joe, I give up. This is it, man. Like he's running out of wiggle room. He's running out of excuses. So he has to do it. Leonard Williams, the guy that everybody calls a Pro Bowl player, listen, I know you're injured, you're banged up a little bit. Dude, this is like a gut check time for this team. Are you going to play with pride? Are you going to believe in yourselves, you against the world, or are you going to lay there and just get manhandled and embarrassed? Dude, it's up to the defense, man. They have to set the tone. If they don't do anything, our offense ain't going to do anything.
Yeah, they have to do something. And that's the thing as well, though, is that even if the defense playing solidly, the offense has to do something. The offense has to move the ball. You cannot leave them out there against the opposing offense for forever, because the Raiders are going to hit the end zone. If you allow the Raiders to dominate the time of possession the way we allowed the Bills to dominate the time of possession, if you're not putting drives together, if you're getting a bunch of 3-and-outs, or you're not getting many yards at all, and you're not getting into the red zone of the opposing team, and you're not putting up points, we're done here. We're done here. And I understand, we're going to continuously talk about this throughout the entire season, but the way that the quarterback situation was handled here, it pretty much sacrificed the offensive production going into the season when you literally force-fed us Christian Hackenberg. That's literally what you did. You sacrificed the offense. You sacrificed the production early in the season because you wanted to keep throwing this garbage kid out here and saying, come hell or high water, we're going to try to find a way for this kid to start, and that didn't work. So now all these preseason games, all those reps that McCown could have had against live action, he's now has to have during the season. He now has to have that during the season with new weapons added, with new guys coming in like Curse and Curley being brought back. So you got a lot of guys trying to not only learn chemistry and timing, which is extremely important within the West Coast offense. You got guys just trying to learn the offense, period, coming in. So when you look at that situation, it's like, man, what exactly are they supposed to do? But they have to put together something, because if they don't, we're done here. Because let me tell you, Cooper, you can only give this guy so many tries before he figures out exactly what the scheme is and actually starts dusting our corners. Because I don't believe that Roberts is going to stop him or slow him down for very much longer, and I don't think Screen is going to slow him down and stop him for very much longer. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a game where Justin Burris is going to get tested. I mean, everybody there, you know what's going to get tested too? Our safeties. So Jamal Adams will be trial by fire on Sunday, because there is no, like I said, there is nowhere to hide anywhere on this field on Sunday. You will get, if you mess up, if you use Todd Bowles' keyword of blown assignment, drink every time you hear that, you'll be drunk for 2 years. I mean, dude, if you make mistakes, you blow coverage, or you just don't play your best game, you'll be exposed. And going to the other side of the ball, looking at our offense, which, listen, I mean, Joe, I really don't know what to do with this, because you don't want to be completely negative, but based on our offensive line, I'm not exactly sure how we handle Bruce Irvin and Khalil Mack. I really don't understand how we're going to do it. We don't have the offensive line struggled last week, and now you add in dynamic pass rushers. I mean, Khalil Mack is a man amongst boys, and I really don't know how we control them. I don't know how we establish our running game. I don't really know what we're going to do offensively to offset their rush. I don't know. I mean, I'll listen to you're a football guy, man. Tell me how our offense can do something. I really don't know how that's going to happen.
You have to keep them off balance. You have to keep them off balance, and you got to try your best to not get in long down situations. You have to run the ball. You have to establish a running game. You have to. And you get Matt Forte off the damn field. It's time to stop playing that game. Let's get serious here.
Make him the fullback.
Somebody's got to be the fullback here. But you might as well make it a fullback. But we got to get serious here. You've got to stop yourself from getting in these 3rd and 8s or 3rd and 9s where they can be able to pin their ears back and just get right to you. That right side, all this dice rolling that Mac McCagnon has been doing on his offensive line, they're about to show you exactly what rolling the dice gets you around here. It's about to shoot craps, because Mac will line up on that right side. I guarantee you. And they're going to attack, Shell early and often, and they're going to keep going to the well over and over and over again. And Khalil Mack and Irvin, they're two great players, like you said, two dynamic pass rushers, but they've got some solid guys up front as well. Vandross, Ellis, Edwards Jr., those guys are serious, man. Those are runs also rush the passer as well, especially Vandross. He's got very solid hands, and he's very aggressive, especially with the bull rush, man. He'll pull you straight in and pull you straight down, and you'll be gone. And he'll run straight into your quarterback with no problems at all. We have to protect those guys up front. I'm looking at a lot of screens. I think you're going to have to run some screens, some running back screens, not that crap that we ran on 3rd and 14 with that wide receiver screen with nobody out there blocking. They'll destroy Robbie if you try that nonsense. And we've got to get some quick slants. We got to get the ball out of McCown's hands early. And we also have to convert and keep things rolling. You got to keep the chains moving. You can't, these 3 and outs, can't have that. You've got to find a way. And I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know. But at some point, you have to take a deep shot. You have to take deep shots to make them respect you. You have to take deep shots to make them respect that you'll even try that. Because if you don't, they'll just say, hey, I'm going to stack the box and I'm going to beat the hell out of you. That's exactly what they'll do if you're not going to do any of those things. So with all that said, I don't know. I don't even think our offensive line can do that. I really don't, because we struggled to do that against the Bills. I just everything that I'm talking about, anytime I think about the ways that we can win this football, the only thing that comes to mind is our team is not built to do that. Our team doesn't have the talent to do that.